Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my official SummerSlam 2025 predictions video. We're going to go through all 12 matches that are currently announced for SummerSlam 2025. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win, why I think they're going to win, and where storylines can go after SummerSlam as we go towards Clash in Paris. I do want to remind you that we will be watching SummerSlam together as a community here on this YouTube channel, so if you want some wrestling friends to be able to geek out about the show with as it's happening, make sure you pop over to the live stream while SummerSlam is on. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if you are looking for more than just the daily wrestling content that we do here, make sure to check out the Patreon. In fact, the Patreon is where we're going to be uploading our SummerSlam Night 1 and Night 2 reviews with footage. So make sure that you pop over there, patreon.com/SantiZav, link in the description, link in the pinned comment. All right, that's enough. Let's start predicting. Let's start things off by talking about the WWE Women's Championship match between the champion Tiffany Stratton going up against the Queen of the Ring winner, Jade Cargill. I'm going to be honest with you and a little bit blunt here. Out of all of the matches at this year's SummerSlam, this is unfortunately the one that I'm currently the least excited about. And it's not because I think Tiffany and Jade are going to put together a bad match. In fact, I think the match is going to be fine. However, I'm not expecting the match to be so monumentally good that it can completely offset the fact that they've told a pretty poor storyline going into this year's SummerSlam. And to call what they've done a storyline is actually being generous, because I would argue that there barely even is one. I would say that like 85% of my initial excitement for this match was the prospect of Naomi cashing in at the end of this match. And now that that's been removed from the equation, the majority of the excitement of this match unfortunately has just vanished. Nonetheless, it is our job to try and predict who is going to win this match. And I do think that WWE will finally pull their trigger on their big investment and give the championship to Jade Cargill. I think that that has been the mission since day one. Before Naomi cashed in, I was like 100% sure that Jade Cargill was going to win, only for Naomi to immediately cash in. Now, I do think it's a bit of a harder choice. I do think that there's a strong possibility that Tiffany could retain, but I still think that WWE's intention this entire summer was to catapult Jade Cargill to the top of the card. And I think that this is where they finally pull the trigger, and Jade Cargill is going to walk out as our next WWE Women's Champion. In terms of what happens next, I would imagine that it'll probably be a rematch, maybe a Clash in Paris between these two, and maybe they can actually tell a storyline since they'll have more time between SummerSlam and Clash in Paris to develop something a little bit more substantial. That's it. Lock it in. I am picking Jade Cargill as our next WWE Women's Champion. Next up, let's talk about our celebrity match. Randy Orton teaming up with Jelly Roll to go up against the team of Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. This is a formula that WWE has followed since the beginning of time. The celebrities always win. That is just something that is fundamentally fact as far as I've watched WWE. So yes, I'm 1 trillion quadrillion % expecting Randy Orton and Jelly Roll to pick up the victory. In fact, I'm expecting Jelly Roll to be the one to get the victory for their team. Out of everyone that's involved here, the only one that really can eat this pin is Logan Paul. Logan Paul isn't damaged by pins because Logan Paul basically gets to hit a reset button after every match, after every feud, and he's fine. He doesn't get hurt by pins at all whatsoever. But if Drew McIntyre were to be the one to take the L and take the pin in this celebrity match, rather, I don't know that he can recover from that. So I'm going to predict that Randy and Jelly will win by Jelly Roll pinning Logan Paul. I'm not going to be the one that predicts that Randy Orton turns heel in this match. I think that if you're going to turn Randy Orton heel at some point, it needs to be involving Cody Rhodes, not something involving Jelly Roll. I know I've been clowning on this match, but I do sincerely believe that it's going to be really fun. And now that we're actually here, I'm actually weirdly excited for this. Again, I will oil up if Jelly Roll does a shooting star press. You heard it here first. But yeah, I'm locking it in. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll will win this celebrity match. Next up, we have Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. It's possible that there might be a stipulation that gets added to this match. I am recording this before Monday Night Raw, so just gotta keep that in mind. I say this because when I look at many of the matches that are on this card, this is one that's kind of standing out as a little bit of a sore thumb, as a match that really does need a stipulation here. And I don't love the idea of Sami Zayn in an I Quit environment, but I do think an I Quit match is probably the best case scenario here. But maybe instead of I Quit, it is I lied. They've been feuding basically since right after WrestleMania. This would be the trilogy of their matches. Their storyline and feud has gotten heated to the point where they're damaging each other, making each other bleed, hurting each other's like internal organs and whatnot. I think that this match does deserve and has earned a stipulation. And honestly, I think it kind of needs it for people to get really excited for this, because we've already seen Karrion versus Sami Zayn twice in just a regular singles environment. I think that general convention for WWE fans is that the third rubber match needs something to really spice it up. And it's not as if their matches have been so good that we can just say, hey, just a singles match will be fun. I think that this needs a stipulation. We'll see if they add one. When it comes to this, though, I am going to go with Sami Zayn. I just don't see WWE giving Karrion Kross the seal of approval that, yes, this is where the Karrion push finally begins. I think that Karrion is probably just happy getting his SummerSlam spot, but I think the destination was always for him to lose to Sami Zayn here. So yeah, I'm just gonna lock it in. I think that Sami Zayn wins. We'll see if they add a stipulation. If they add a stipulation, I still think that Sami Zayn wins. Next up, we have the match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships between the team of the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, going up against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Do you smell that? Do you hear that? Is that the smell and the sound of WWE actually giving a shit about the women's tag team titles? What? I'm weirdly excited for this. It's been forever since I've been excited for a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match and feud, and all it took was making this weird ass team of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss to really get me to fall in love with all of this. But just because I've fallen in love with the allies of convenience, the we're not friends, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, doesn't mean that I also haven't quietly fallen in love with Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, who have been doing a wonderful job since they were basically forced together as champions over the last couple months. I'm expecting this match to be good. I'm expecting this match to be a low-key heater that not necessarily will steal the show, but will be memorable and stick with us. But I do believe if WWE wants to continue this current momentum that they have within the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship division, that they need to put the titles on the hot tag team, and that is Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. This has worked flawlessly for WWE in the past, with the example being Team Hell No. Anytime the WWE does the odd pairing, the will they work together, won't they work together, it always works for WWE. And I think that it'll work once again here. We're already seeing it work with making people weirdly fall in love with Charlotte Flair. If you told me that people were going to root for Charlotte Flair after the debacle that was the 2025 Royal Rumble, I would call you an insane person. I think to keep the momentum that they currently have with the division, they should put the titles on the new hot team, Charlotte and Alexa. So that's what I'm going to predict. Charlotte and Alexa will be your next WWE Tag Team Champions. I know that there is maybe the possibility of maybe Liv Morgan returning here. I don't see it, but I could see maybe Liv Morgan coming in to be a distraction to help the Judgment Day, but I'm not willing to risk it and make that prediction, so I'm going to stick with Charlotte and Alexa. In terms of what happens next, I think you can continue this. I think that you could also explore the Kabuki Warriors versus Charlotte and Alexa if they were to win. I think you can explore NXT teams versus Charlotte and Alexa. When it comes to the Judgment Day, they've got a ready-made storyline with the return of Liv Morgan, the stuff going on with Dominic Mysterio. They'll be fine. They'll continue to get plenty of TV time. So yeah, I'm locking it in. Charlotte and Alexa Bliss to be your next WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Next up, we have the tag team match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso going up against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. If I'm reading the tea leaves, my belief is that the original match here for Roman Reigns was probably meant to be Seth Rollins, and that this tag match was probably meant to be Ya and Yeet, LA Knight and Jey Uso instead of Roman and Jey. If it was LA Knight and Jey Uso, I would have been picking Braun and Braun security here to really keep their momentum going. But I just don't see Roman freaking Reigns and Jey Uso losing here. There's just no way. I know that WWE is hot on Braun Breaker, but nothing something is telling me that they're hot on Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed right there is the guy that's sticking out as the guy that's going to be taking the pin here. I know that Roman Reigns is going to disappear after this. He's going to go film Street Fighter, but that doesn't really change anything for the aura that is Roman Reigns. It doesn't really change anything for him at all. And Braun and Bronson losing to Roman Reigns, getting pinned by Roman Reigns, doesn't hurt them at all either, because it's Roman Reigns. If they were losing to Tozawa, that's a different story, but they're losing to Roman Reigns, one of the biggest stars in the history of this business. So yeah, I'm gonna lock in Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. Roman will disappear. Jey Uso will probably continue to feud with the Brawns. It's possible that the mysterious Plan B might take shape here, but I'm a believer that Plan B has been postponed until the return of Seth Rollins. I don't think that Plan B takes place until Seth is back. But yeah, I want to reiterate, WWE is clearly very hot on Braun Breaker. I think that eventually the plan, maybe at this year's WrestleMania, will be Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns, so they're going to want to protect that. So I think that, to me, it's pretty clear as day that Bronson Reed is going to be taking the L here for the team. So lock it in, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. Now let's talk about the match that I'm predicting to be the Night 1 main event, the World Heavyweight Championship match between the champion Gunther going up against CM Punk. This match has a lot going for it. The fact that it's Gunther and CM Punk is big check number one, and big check number two is the unpredictability of this, because this is a match that I could see both of these guys winning, and then you add the factor of the potential Money in the Bank cash-in that could happen by an injured Seth Rollins, and then you really throw the unpredictability into a blender, and it just becomes an impossible mismatch to try and predict. I could see Gunther winning. I could see CM Punk winning. I could see CM Punk winning and getting cashed in on. I see all kinds of scenarios happening here. However, I also want to point out that I'm not a hypocrite. I do believe that, just like Tiffany and Jade Cargill, that we should be criticizing the fact that there's been no storyline between Gunther and CM Punk at all. This is the problem that you naturally have when you have such little time to build to Gunther and CM Punk, and their first interaction wasn't particularly that enticing either. So even though I'm excited about all of the things that could be an outcome from this match, I am very disappointed by the lack of storyline going into it here. We still have some time with the go-home episode of Monday Night Raw, but I still think that we cut it way too close to get us excited from a storyline perspective. This might be wishful thinking, and it's wishful thinking that I sincerely hope happens, because it would just be the greatest thing ever. So I am going to throw it out into the universe, and I am going to make it my prediction, even though I know that the likelihood is more likely that it won't happen than it will. I think that CM Punk is going to win, and that Seth Rollins is going to go out there hobbled, probably carried by Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and cash in on CM Punk. The reason I'm making this prediction is because, one, I have a hard time seeing CM Punk losing back-to-back World Championship matches, losing to John Cena, and then losing to Gunther. The other reason why I think that this is the case is just Seth Rollins' entire character has been that, come hell or high water, that he will never allow CM Punk to be a world champion in the WWE so long as he's breathing. And as far as I can tell, he's still breathing. He has a bum knee, but he's still breathing. I think it would be absolutely hilarious if he cashes in, he's injured, and just has to vacate the championship the next night. I think that is kind of burning the briefcase, but it's burning it in such a way where it is just an unforgettable moment. And what is WWE if not for the moments? They're also just talking so much about how Seth Rollins is going to be gone for a long time, how he still has a long time to cash in. I think that these are all misdirections, and that Seth Rollins, injured or not, is going to cash in on CM Punk after CM Punk defeats Gunther. So that's it. That's my prediction. CM Punk will win this match, but will get cashed in on by a hobbled Seth freaking Rollins. Now let's move over to night 2 and talk about the Women's World Championship match between the champion Naomi defending against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. I am so excited for this match. Just having Rhea and Io guarantees that this match is going to be a certified fresh banger. But then you add one of the best character workers in the WWE in Naomi, and I just think that you've got a recipe for something magical here. When it comes to the story between these three, sure, it hasn't been super long and interwoven, but just off the back of what happened at Evolution, that is enough to get the majority of fans ultra excited for this affair after the crazy, monumentally good match between Rhea and Io that had the insane cash in from Naomi at the end. So when it comes to this match, however, I am going to pick Naomi to retain the championship here. I know that these big shows are notorious for having heel champions lose to all the baby faces, but I think that this is one of the matches where I think the heel should be retaining. Mostly because Naomi's championship reign just began and there's so much left to do and explore in her championship reign that I think it would just be entirely way too early to pull the trigger on her losing this championship. And they've already planted the seeds of a storyline between Naomi and Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer, of course, being the one that's next in line for a world championship opportunity at Clash in Paris. And I think to me, it's pretty clear as day that Naomi is going to be retaining here if they're already creating the path towards Stephanie Vaquer for her. Expect this to be one of the best matches of the entire show. I wouldn't be surprised if this has some crazy, wacky, screwy finish, but your boy, I am taking Naomi to retain the championship here. And by the way, with Naomi winning, that continues the storyline and trope of Rhea Ripley not being able to defeat Io Sky for a championship in any match. Now let's talk about the steel cage match for the WWE United States Championship between the champion Solo Sikoa going up against the challenger Jacob Fatu. I think to me, it's pretty clear that WWE sees and has marked Jacob Fatu for ultra mega stardom. There's a guy that's going to be main eventing WrestleManias. He's going to be main eventing SummerSlams. He's going to have it all. He, to me, is already a made man. And I do think that WWE put this situation in place so that Jacob Fatu could once again have another big celebratory moment on another of one of WWE's big shows. They had him win the United States Championship at WrestleMania, and I think the plan is just to have him win it again and celebrate once again at another big show, this time SummerSlam. It doesn't matter what you throw at Jacob Fatu. This man has just continuously overcame the odds against MFT. The only way that I see MFT winning here is if they had another member. This is just how classic Solo Sikoa victories have been, well, where the only way that he wins if it's another member of his bloodline appears. And I guess there is technically one that's in the wings, that being Tama Tonga, who we haven't seen in quite a while. Maybe Tama Tonga returns at this match, but I don't know that Tama Tonga's return is so big that it could warrant Jacob Fatu losing this. So I am going to pick what I think is the obvious option. I'm going to take Jacob Fatu as the next WWE United States champion. In terms of how he wins, I think this man is crazy enough to do a mighty moonsault off the top of the cage. That's how I think he's going to win the match. So lock it in. Jacob Fatu as our next WWE United States champion. In terms of what's next, oh brother, you think that Jacob Fatu is going to be out of the bloodline vortex? No, they're gonna run this for a while. They've got enough fuel here to probably go into war games, if you ask me. Let's talk about the Intercontinental Championship match between the champion Dominic Mysterio going up against AJ Styles. All right, this is fascinating. I think that my answer recently changed. I'm talking within the last 24 hours, because I was pretty confident that Dominic Mysterio was going to win this, and now I'm not so sure anymore. The reason I was so sure is because Dominic is, your future. AJ Styles is on his way out, but things have recently changed with Dominic Mysterio being scheduled for Triple Mania to go up against Hijo del Vikingo, Dragon Lee, and El Grande Americano for the AAA Mega Championship. And I weirdly see them putting that big belt on Dominic Mysterio in Mexico. So because I think that they're going to put the AAA championship on Dominic Mysterio, I see WWE making the decision to take the Intercontinental Championship off of Dom, give it to AJ Styles so that AJ Styles could have a ready-made match and storyline with maybe Finn Balor going into Clash in Paris. You know you want to hear that Il Evermont fan, oh man, la 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 la. Or hell, maybe John Cena loses and it's AJ versus John Cena for the IC title, like so many people have been fantasy booking. I think that AJ Styles will have his prayers answered, and I think that AJ Styles will have one last run with a major championship in the WWE, and he will be our next Intercontinental Champion, while Dominic Mysterio goes off to dominate Mexico. Moving on to the no disqualification, no countout last chance match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. This has been such an amazing feud. This is everything that you want out of a feud between a veteran and an up-and-comer. Great matches, great storytelling, great promos, and you elevate the younger talent so that they can take over once the older talent is ready to move on from this feud or from their career. And they've hit on every single note here. This feud has made Lyra Valkyria into a star. We all already knew that this girl could ball in the ring. She's always been very good, but there was something missing: character, charisma, the reason for anybody to care about Lyra Valkyria, and Becky Lynch dragged it out of Lyra Valkyria over the last couple of months and has given us a Lyra Valkyria that could easily carry the Women's Intercontinental Championship scene and can take this Intercontinental Championship scene as a catapult to being a Women's World Champion somewhere down the line. And I think that this is the crowning of your next big star right here in the women's mid-card. I am picking Lyra Valkyria to win this match, win the feud, and Becky Lynch will likely move on to the main event scene, and Lyra Valkyria will probably hold this Intercontinental Championship dominantly for the rest of the year, maybe feuding with the likes of Bayley. But yeah, I'm gonna lock this in. I'm gonna go with Lyra Valkyria defeating Becky Lynch and becoming our new Women's Intercontinental Champion. Now let's talk about the match that I'm the most excited for, the six-pack tables, ladders, and chairs match between the Wyatt Six, Andrade and Rey Fenix, DIY, Fraxia, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits. What's not to like about this? This match is going to be amazing. Whoever has to follow up this match, good luck, because the crowd is gonna be dead, dude. Listen, this is a division and a group of people that have earned and deserve this spot, and I'm so happy that WWE didn't make the same mistake that they made at WrestleMania and put the bum-ass War Raiders and bum-ass New Day for some Clash Royale sponsored championship match instead of the amazing TLC match that they put on literally the next episode of SmackDown. This match deserves and has earned the right to be in front of the biggest audience possible, and I commend WWE for doing this. Thank you for putting this at SummerSlam. In terms of who I think is gonna win, I have no earthly idea. This is one of these divisions where they're all properly equipped to be champions. They've all been propped up. They all feel important. They've all had good matches. They've all had promo segments. They've all had interactions with one another where you can literally just go into a hat, grab a name, and boom, those are your champions. And I think everybody would be fine with it. So where does that leave me? Because I still need to predict somebody. So let's literally do that. Let me grab a hat and put a bunch of names in it, and whoever I grab is who I think is gonna win. All right, so I wasn't able to immediately find a hat, but I found my bald cap. Here are all the teams. I'm gonna shuffle them up real quick. We're gonna grab one name, and ladies and gentlemen, the team that I think is going to win the WWE Tag Team Championships, according to the bald cap, is, damn it, Motor City Machine Guns. That's actually the team I didn't think was gonna win. But the bald cap does not lie. Motor City Machine Guns will win the TLC match, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of what you do after this, the same thing. Don't change anything. Everything's going great for the SmackDown Tag Team division. Just coast, baby. Just keep doing you. And now let's wrap things up with what will be the Night 2 main event, the street fight for the WWE Undisputed Championship between the champion John Cena going up against the King of the Ring winner, Cody Rhodes. Oh my God. Listen, I have changed my mind about this so many times. After WrestleMania 41, I was like, oh, obviously Cody's just gonna win this at SummerSlam, the biggest SummerSlam in company history, the first two-nighter. They're gonna want to have the big baby face triumphantly getting vengeance on the guy that beat him at WrestleMania 41. It was clear as day. However, okay, all right, things have changed with Cody Rhodes being confirmed to be taking time off from WWE to go film Street Fighter, and John Cena is actually confirmed for Clash in Paris. So out of the two, he's the only one that's there for the next upcoming WWE Premium Live event. Now, you can do whatever you want with John Cena at Clash in Paris. He doesn't need to have the WWE Undisputed Championship for him to be a big deal. He could go after AJ Styles or the Intercontinental Championship, whoever's the champion, and it'll be perfectly awesome. However, I don't see WWE pulling the trigger on ending the John Cena WWE Never Seen 17 run, because it just finally finally got good. And they have the perfect reason to not pull the trigger. They've got the perfect reason to allow John Cena to continue to be your heel never seen 17 champion with Cody Rhodes taking time off. Because I don't think that the original plan when they gave the title to Cena at WrestleMania 41 involved Cody Rhodes being away after SummerSlam for this movie. But now that he is, they gotta pivot, and I think they're gonna pivot to having John Cena retain and keep the championship probably for the rest of his retirement run. Now, the street fight stipulation, I don't know if it's a pun intended or no pun intended, because he's going to go do Street Fighter, I do think brings up so many questions, right? Like shenanigans after shenanigans that could happen in this match. Predominantly, you already know him as the bald fraud Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I've for so long on this channel have hated the idea of having to predict when The Rock is going to come back. Will he, won't he? Will he actually be there for a storyline to pay it off? Will what he does and what he says actually matters? Because recently, more often than not, the answer is it doesn't matter. But I weirdly think that this is a situation where it makes sense for The Rock to come back, especially considering Travis Scott and the WWE are now in the outs. So I think they need somebody out there to help connect to everything that happened at WrestleMania 41. And if it's not going to be Travis Scott, I think it's going to be John Cena and The Rock. So I cannot believe I'm making this prediction, folks. I am predicting John Cena to retain against Cody Rhodes in the street fight and celebrate the end of the show. Still, you're never seen 17. Folks, that is it for my predictions. This is your opportunity to chime in. Let me know where you think I'm completely off. Maybe you agree with me, but the comment section, this is your best friend. This is where I need you to leave your predictions. But that's it. I am done, folks. Can't wait to watch SummerSlam. I think it's going to be a fun show. That's it. Get out of here.